Welcome to Mind Map MCQ. In this video, we will explore the fascinating motion of Earth and its moon, discover the science behind the Earth's rotation, revolution, and delve into moon's orbit and phases. Perfect for students preparing for competitive exams, this video is packed with engaging MCQs to test your knowledge and enhance your learning. So prepare, practice, prevail. Question 1. What is the line called that passes through the center of a celestial body and around which it rotates? Options are A. Orbit, B. Equator, C. Axis, D. Meridian. The correct answer is option C. Axis. The line that passes through the center of a celestial body and around which it rotates is called the rotational axis. This imaginary line extends from the north pole to the south pole of a celestial body. Question 2. What is the term for the time it takes for a planet to complete one orbit around the Sun? The options are A. Orbital period, B. Solar day, C. Sidereal day, D. Synodic period. The correct answer is option A. Orbital period. The term for the time it takes for a planet to complete one orbit around the Sun is called its orbital period or revolution period. This period varies for each planet and is determined by its distance from the Sun. Planets farther from the Sun have longer orbital periods. For example, Earth's orbital period is 1 year while Jupiter's is about 12 years. The orbital period is a fundamental aspect of planetary motion governed by Kepler's law of planetary motion. 3. What causes the seasons on Earth? Options are A. The distance of the Earth from the Sun, B. The tilt of the Earth's axis relative to its orbital plane, C. The elliptical shape of Earth's orbit, and D. The rotation of Earth on its axis. The correct option is B. The tilt of the Earth's axis relative to its orbital plane. The seasons on Earth are caused by the tilt of the Earth's rotational axis, which is inclined at approximately 23.5 degrees relative to its orbital plane around the Sun. As Earth orbits the Sun, this axial tilt causes different hemispheres to receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the Sun, it experiences summer, while the southern hemisphere experiences winter, and vice versa. This variation in solar radiation intensity and duration results in a cyclical changes of the seasons. Question 4. What is the period of time it takes for the moon to go through all its phases called? A. Sidereal month, B. Lunar period, C. Calendar month, or D. Synodic month. The correct option is Synodic month. The period of time it takes for the moon to go through all its phases is called a lunar month or a synodic month. This cycle lasts approximately 29.5 days. During this period, the moon progresses through its phases: new moon, first quarter, full moon, and last quarter. The changing appearance of the moon as seen from the Earth results from the relative positions of the Earth, moon, and Sun, causing varying positions of the moon's illuminated half to be visible. 5. What phenomenon causes a planet to appear to move backward in the sky as seen from the Earth? A. Retrograde motion, B. Prograde motion, C. Orbital resonance, and D. Parallax. The correct option is A. Retrograde motion. The phenomenon that causes a planet to appear to move backward in the sky as seen from Earth is called retrograde motion. This apparent reversal occurs when Earth, moving in its orbit, overtakes an outer planet like Mars or Jupiter in its own orbit. As Earth passes the slower moving outer planet, the outer planet temporarily appears to move westward against the background stars instead of its usual eastward motion. This optical illusion results from the relative motion of the two planets. 6. What is the name of the point in the orbit of a planet at which it is closest to the Sun? A. Apogee, B. Perigee, C. Perihelion, and D. Aphelion. The correct option is C. Perihelion. The point in the orbit of a planet at which it is closest to the Sun is called the perihelion. During perihelion, a planet is at its minimum distance from the Sun, resulting in the highest orbital speed due to stronger gravitational pull. This term is derived from Greek, where peri means near and helios means sun. 7. When is Earth's perihelion? A. March, B. July, C. September, D. January. The correct option is D. January. Earth's perihelion occurs around January 3rd each year. During this time, Earth is closest to the Sun at a distance of about 147 million kilometers. Despite being closer to the Sun, perihelion happens during the northern hemisphere winter due to the tilt of Earth's axis, which causes seasonal changes. 8. What is the name of the point in the orbit of a planet at which it is farthest from the Sun? A. Apogee, B. Aphelion, C. Perigee, D. Perihelion. The correct option is B. Aphelion. The point in the orbit of a planet at which it is farthest from the Sun is called aphelion. This marks the greatest distance between the planet and the Sun along its elliptical orbit. At aphelion, the planet moves at its slowest orbital speed due to the weaker gravitational pull from the Sun. For Earth, aphelion occurs around July 4th each year, when Earth is approximately 152 million kilometers away from the Sun. This distance variation influences seasonal solar energy receipt but has minimal impact on climate compared to the axial tilt. 9. What is the position of Moon called when it is farthest from the Earth? The options are apogee, B. Perigee, C. Waning moon, D. Waxing moon. The correct option is A. Apogee. The position of the Moon when it is farthest from the Earth is called apogee. Apogee marks the point in the Moon's elliptical orbit around Earth where it reaches its maximum distance from the planet's center. This distance can vary due to the Moon's elliptical orbit, with apogee occurring approximately every 27.5 days. At apogee, the Moon is about 405,500 kilometers away from Earth, contrasting with its closest approach, perigee, which occurs approximately every 27.3 days. 10. What is the position of Moon called when it is closest to the Earth? Waxing moon, waning moon, perigee, apogee. The correct option is C. Perigee. The position of the Moon when it is closest to Earth is called perigee. Perigee marks the point in the Moon's elliptical orbit around Earth where it reaches its minimum distance from the planet's center. This distance can vary due to the Moon's elliptical orbit, with perigee occurring approximately 27.3 days. At perigee, the Moon is about 363,300 kilometers away from Earth, which is about 50,000 kilometers closer than its average distance. 11. What is a supermoon? A new moon at apogee, B. a full moon at apogee, C. a new moon at perigee, D. a full moon at perigee. The correct option is D, a full moon at perigee. A supermoon occurs when a full moon coincides with its perigee, the closest point in its elliptical orbit around Earth. This results in the moon appearing larger and brighter than usual, up to 14% larger and 30% brighter compared to when it is at apogee, its farthest point. Supermoons can have significant visual impacts and are often associated with higher tides known as Parisian spring tides. The term supermoon is not an official astronomical term but is popular in media and public discourse. 12. What is the phenomenon where the sun is completely blocked by the moon? A. Partial solar eclipse. B. Total solar eclipse. C. Annular solar eclipse. And D. Penumbral solar eclipse. The correct option is B. Total solar eclipse. The phenomenon where the sun is completely blocked by the moon is called a total solar eclipse. During a total solar eclipse, the moon passes directly between the earth and the sun, covering the sun's disk entirely and casting a shadow on earth. This results in a brief period of darkness during the day known as totality, where the sun's corona or outer atmosphere can be seen. Total solar eclipses are rare and occur only in specific locations along a narrow path on Earth's surface. 13. Which of the following best describes an annular solar eclipse? A. The sun and the moon are aligned but no part of the sun is obscured. B. The moon partially covers the sun, casting a partial shadow on Earth. C. The moon covers the sun completely, casting a shadow on Earth. And D. Moon covers the center of the sun, leaving a ring-like appearance. The correct option is D. The moon covers the center of the sun, leaving a ring-like appearance. An annular solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes directly between the earth and the sun, but it is at a point in its orbit where it is too far from the earth to completely cover the sun's disk. This results in a ring of fire appearance where a thin ring of the sun's outer edge remains visible around the moon. Annular solar eclipses occur when the moon's apparent size is smaller than the sun's, creating a stunning and unique visual effect that can be observed from the specific locations on Earth. 14. What is the term for the apparent shift in position of a nearby star against the background of distant stars due to Earth's orbit around the sun? A. Precession. B. Aberration. C. Parallax. And D. Nutation. The correct option C. Parallax. The term for the apparent shift in position of a nearby star against the background of distant stars due to Earth's orbit around the sun is called stellar parallax. Stellar parallax is observed as a star appears to move back and forth relative to the more distant stars over the course of a year. This shift is caused by the change in the observer's viewpoint as Earth orbits the sun. 15. What is the term for the line that divides the illuminated and dark halves of the moon or a planet? A. Meridian. B. Terminator. C. Equator. D. Axis. The correct option is B. Terminator. The term for the line that divides the illuminated and dark halves of the moon or a planet is called the terminator. The terminator is the boundary between the day side and the night side of the celestial body. On the moon, the terminator is where the sunrise or sunset occurs, creating long shadows that highlight surface features like craters and mountains. The position of the terminator changes continuously due to the rotation of the planet or the orbital movement of the moon. Consider the following sentences. 1. Earth has the highest orbital speed when it is farthest from the sun. 2. Earth has the lowest orbital speed when it is farthest from the sun. 3. Earth has the highest orbital speed when it is closest to the Sun. 4. Earth has the lowest orbital speed when it is closest to the Sun. Choose the correct option from below. Option A, statements 2 and 3 are correct while 1 and 4 are incorrect. Option B, statements 1 and 4 are correct while 3 and 2 are incorrect. Option C, statements 1 and 2 are correct while 3 and 4 are incorrect. Option D, statements 1 and 3 are correct while 2 and 4 are incorrect. The correct option is option A. Earth moves slowest in its orbit when it is farthest from the Sun, that is at aphelion. This is because the gravitational pull of the Sun is weaker at greater distances, resulting in a lower orbital speed. Earth moves fastest in its orbit when it is closest to the Sun, that is at perihelion. This is because the gravitational pull of the Sun is stronger at the shorter distances, resulting in a higher orbital speed. 17. What is the name of the shadow where the light source is completely blocked during the eclipse? A. Preumbra. B. Antumbra. C. Penumbra. Or D. Umbra. The correct option is D. Umbra. The shadow where the light source is completely blocked during an eclipse is called the umbra. In the umbra, the Sun's light is entirely obscured by the Moon in a solar eclipse or the Earth in a lunar eclipse, resulting in a complete darkness. Observers located in the path of the umbra experiences a total eclipse, witnessing totality. 18. What is the line called that joins the apogee and perigee in an orbit? A. Line of apsides. B. Line of nodes. C. Line of sight. And D. Primordial line. The correct option, the line of apsides. The line that joins the apogee and the perigee of an orbit is called the line of apsides. This line passes through the major axis of the elliptical orbit, connecting the closest point perigee and the farthest point apogee from the central body around which an object orbits. The line of the apsides is crucial in orbital mechanics as it defines the orientation of the elliptical orbit in space, influencing the object's speed and distance at different points in its orbit. 19. What is the name of the phenomenon that occurs when the Sun is directly above the equator, resulting in nearly equal day and night? A. Perihelion. B. Equinox. C. Aphelion. And D. Solstice. The correct option is B. Equinox. The phenomenon that occurs when the Sun is directly above the equator, resulting in nearly equal day and night, is called an equinox. There are two equinoxes each year, the vernal equinox around March 21st and the autumnal equinox around September 23rd. During an equinox, the Earth's axis is not tilted towards or away from the Sun, causing the Sun to be positioned directly over the equator. This alignment results in approximately equal durations of daylight and darkness across the globe. 20. What is the term for the apparent daily motion of stars caused by Earth's rotation? A. Sidereal motion. B. Retrograde motion. C. Diurnal motion. Or D. Epicyclic motion. The correct option is C. Diurnal motion. The term for the apparent daily motion of stars caused by Earth's rotation is called diurnal motion or daily motion. As Earth rotates on its axis from west to east, observers on the planet's surface see the stars appear to move across the sky in an eastward direction. This motion is a result of Earth's rotation and gives the illusion that the stars are circling around the celestial poles. Diurnal motion is a fundamental in determining the length of a day and night cycle. 21. What is the term for the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit around Earth relative to the stars? A. A sidereal month, B. Synodic month, C. Lunar month, or D. A calendar month? The correct option A. Sidereal month. The term for the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit around Earth relative to the stars is called the sidereal month. A sidereal month is approximately 27.3 days long. It represents the period for the moon to return to the same position in the sky relative to the background of distant stars. Unlike the synodic month, which is about 29.5 days and includes the phases of the moon as seen from the Earth, the sidereal month focuses on the moon's orbital position in space. 22. What is the term for the effect that causes the Earth's axis to wobble over a period of about 26,000 years? A. Nutation, B. Precession, C. Aberration, or D. Gyration? The correct option B. Precession. The term for the effect that causes the Earth's axis to wobble over a period of about 26,000 years is called precession. The Earth's precession is primarily caused by a gravitational interactions with the Sun, Moon, and other planets, which exerts torques on the planet's equatorial bulge. This gradual motion shifts the orientation of the Earth's rotational axis relative to the fixed stars over the time. Precession affects the positions of the celestial poles and the timing of equinoxes and solstices over the long geological timescales. 23. What is the term for the 2 points in the orbit of the moon where it crosses the plane of the Earth's orbit? Options are A. Perigean apogee, B. Foci, C. Nodes, and D. Apsides. The correct option is C. Nodes. The 2 points in the orbit of the moon where it crosses the plane of the Earth's orbit are called the lunar nodes or simply nodes. Specifically, these are the points where the moon's orbit intersects the ecliptic plane, which is the plane of Earth's orbit around the Sun. The point where the moon crosses from the south to north of the ecliptic plane is the ascending node, while the point where it crosses from north to south is the descending node. These nodes are crucial in determining when eclipses can occur. 24. What is Lagrange point? A. A location in space where an object's gravitational force is 0. B. A point where two planets have equal gravitational forces. C. A point where the gravitational pull of Sun is equal to that of Moon. D. Gravitational forces of two large bodies balancing the force felt by a smaller object. The correct option is D. Gravitational forces of two large bodies balance the force felt by a smaller object. A Lagrange point is a position in space where the gravitational forces of two large bodies, such as Earth and the Sun, balance the centripetal force felt by a smaller object. This creates a point of equilibrium where the smaller object can remain relatively stationary with respect to the two larger bodies. There are 5 Lagrange points L1 to L5 in any two body system. These points are useful for placing satellites and space telescopes as they require minimal energy to maintain their position. 25. Which of the following can occur during a new moon? A. A total solar eclipse. B. A total lunar eclipse. C. A partial lunar eclipse. D. A blue moon. The correct option, a total solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs during a new moon when the moon passes directly between the earth and the sun, casting a shadow on earth. This alignment causes the sun to be partially or completely obscured from view in certain areas. 26. How often does a new moon occur? Every 14 days, every 29.5 days, every 14.25 days, every 365 days. The correct option is B, every 29.5 days. A new moon occurs approximately every 29.5 days, marking the beginning of a new lunar cycle. This period, known as synodic month, is the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit around Earth and align with the sun and Earth in such a way that the side of the moon facing the Earth is not illuminated by the sun. During a new moon, the moon is positioned between the Earth and the sun, making it invisible to the naked eye from the Earth. What is a full moon? A. When the moon is directly between the earth and the sun. B. When the moon is at its closest point to the earth. C. When the moon is fully illuminated by the sun as seen from earth. And D. When the moon is at its farthest point from the earth. The correct option is C. When the moon is fully illuminated by the sun as seen from earth. A full moon occurs when the moon is positioned directly opposite the sun with earth in between, causing the entire face of the moon to be illuminated and visible from the earth. This phase happens approximately once every 29.5 days during the lunar cycle. During a full moon, the sun's light fully illuminates the side of the moon facing the earth, making it appear bright and round. 28. What is a new moon? Options are A. The moon is at perigee and too far for the sun's light to reach it. B. The moon is at apogee and too far for the sun's light to reach it. C. Earth is between the sun and the moon casts a shadow on earth. And D. A new moon occurs when the moon is between the earth and the sun. The correct option is D. A new moon occurs when the moon is between earth and the sun. A new moon occurs when the moon is positioned between the earth and the sun, with the sun's rays illuminating the far side of the moon, leaving the side facing earth in darkness. From earth, a new moon appears completely dark as it is not illuminated by the direct sunlight. This phase marks the beginning of the lunar cycle and occurs approximately every 29.5 days. 29. What is libration in relation to the moon? A. The periodic change in the moon's orbit. B. The apparent wobbling or tipping of the moon's visible surface. C. The tilt in moon's axis. D. Angle between the moon's axis and the earth's axis. The correct option is B. The apparent wobbling or tipping of the moon's visible surface. Libration refers to the apparent rocking or oscillatory motion of the moon as observed from the earth. This phenomenon allows us to see slightly more than 50% of the moon's surface over time, despite the moon being tidally locked to earth. Libration occurs due to several factors, including the moon's elliptical orbit, its axial tilt relative to its orbit, and variation in its orbital speed. These movements create the illusion of the moon tilting back and forth and shifting slightly in its position relative to Earth. 30. Which term describes the phenomenon where the moon's rotational period and the orbital period are synchronized? A. Tidal locking. B. Tidal resonance. C. Tidal oscillation. And D. Tidal attraction. The correct option A. Tidal locking. Tidal locking refers to a gravitational phenomenon where two celestial bodies such as the Earth and the Moon become synchronized in their rotation due to tidal forces. In the case of the Earth and the Moon is tidally locked to Earth, meaning it rotates on its axis in exactly the same time it takes to orbit Earth. As a result, the same side of the Moon always faces Earth, while the far side remains permanently hidden from view. Tidal locking is a common phenomenon among natural satellites in close orbits around their parent planets.